Hey everybody, and welcome to Project Premium Harvest. My name is Matt. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the YieldMax Group C pairs for the month of December. We're going to talk about my account overview, a target of opportunity trade I made today, and then we're going to discuss each individual YieldMax fund. And now that I'm using more margin, to see if I'm going to actually buy on ex-dividend day and which funds are kind of like meet my criteria. So let's get started. All right, so YMAX is a weekly pair at 12 cents, YMAG at 16 cents, Cony $1.33, fiat, hopefully no one's invested in this trash, it was at 68 cents, msfo 41 cents, amdy 30 cents, nfly 86 cents, almost 87, abny 39 cents, pypy 60 cents, and ULTY 70 cents. Not too bad. So let's start discussing these individual funds and then my portfolio and some of the things I traded. For all of my returning subscribers and viewers, the one thing I like to do on my channel is be very transparent. And I'm going to show you my wins, my losses, and everything in between. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, but currently my account today is at $109,000. Wanted to point something out here that some investors might not necessarily think about, and might be too gun shy about losing money. So basically, what's today, the 11th? Yeah. So basically yesterday I was pretty much down, almost $6,000-$7,000, right? Because I'm heavily invested in Nvidia and it happened to have a downward trend. The one thing is that about Nvidia is I definitely trust it long-term. So this little, slip up from, $111,000 to about $102,000. I wasn't necessarily worried because I know Nvidia will recover because it is a great fundamental stock. And so if you guys can see, count was $102,000 yesterday, and then it just shot back up to $109,000. And I anticipate it to continue going higher and higher. So yeah, but with that being said, I had a target of opportunity today. Speaking of Nvidia, right? So yeah, let's click on Nvidia. Take a look here. So basically around this time frame, like 7 a.m., I saw Nvidia was trading like pretty low for the last month. So I'm like, oh man, I'd really like to just jump in and buy some Nvidia shares. So I basically bought Nvidia at about $23.50 a share, about 1,000 shares of it. So, it's almost $23,000. And then I was going to hold this long term for pretty much until maybe the declaration date, maybe sell out and hold it. But then today, it shot back up to about $24.90. And it went even higher. Right now it's at $24.15, but I basically locked in about, 30.38 cents per share. So basically made $380 doing a quick little trade just because I thought Nvidia was trading pretty low. It shot up. And then my premise on money here, I don't like leaving dashboard money. If I see money, I take the money, right? The fact that I jumped in for a trade, I wasn't necessarily wanting to be in it long term. So the fact that I made, $380, almost $400 on a quick trade after 3 hours, I took that money and I'm going to put it aside and then throw into my core foundational holdings of, xdte, rdte, eventually amzp, and then like my GPIX and JEPQ. So just wanted to throw that out there and, highlight the importance that don't be an emotional investor. Do your research. And then if you believe in something, just really support it. And that's kind of what happened with me today. I thought Nvidia was trading super low. It's going to recover. It's a great stock. Just want to do that quick call out. And then now let's talk about the actual Group C payers for YieldMax. All right. So the first on the chopping block is Cony, which is based off the Coinbase stock, right? So last year it's down to about, 27, almost 28%. The distribution was pretty good. This last month was $1.33. Let's take a look at what's happening right now. So currently the YieldMax or Robinhood hasn't pulled out the ex-dividend from the stock. So there isn't like a significant drop yet. So right now would not be a good entry time. Once that ex-dividend is actually pulled out, I would then invest it if you're interested. I'm not a big fan of Cony, to be honest. If you look at the actual underlying stock, it's trading pretty high. And if you see here, it's trading pretty high. Not at all-time highs right now, but it's still relatively high for my liking. So for me, if I buy an ex-dividend, the room for appreciation is definitely limited. So I don't want to take the risk of potentially not recovering that dividend, or if I put in, $50,000, it doesn't actually move the way I want it to. So it's not necessarily a bad play, but right now I'm not going to be doing any Cony plays right now. Moving on to fiat, we're looking at the last year. It's an inverse fund. And it's just freaking hot trash, down 57.48%. I'm never really a big fan of inverse funds. Initially, people, when they first started these funds started coming out, they wanted to have one of the underlying and one of the inverse. And I thought it was a terrible idea because it's like the stock market over time is usually up. So if you own the inverse fund, you're always losing money. Only time I ever see this being a good idea is if it's like a bear market. But right now it's currently bull market. Not necessarily a fan of this right now. As you can see, just absolutely down. And then we'll look at this little chop zone. Yeah, just not interested, guys. Just simple as that. All right, looking at Microsoft here, the YieldMax Microsoft option income strategy. So this is the one market condition that I wanted to point out that I've noticed is that, yes, today is declaration day, but usually YieldMax or Robinhood usually takes out the dividend from the share price. And so you can see that significant drop here, guys, right? But then it shoots back up. And for me, I've never seen that before, so I'm just calling it out. So if you guys are thinking about buying on the X dividend, so technically today and then tomorrow is usually that sweet point to like jump in. But the fact that it jumped high again, I find it concerning because the ceiling to make your profit, I think, is reduced because of that. Maybe so, maybe not. But it's just something I wanted to point out. I don't actually know what this means, right? I can come up with like some ideas, but I think some hedge funds or somebody with a ton of money bought into this on the X dividend and it shot back up. And then for it to recover, the NAV might happen, but I think this price point is a little too high for me to buy in at. Plus, Microsoft isn't really like a good YieldMax fund I like investing in. It usually trades pretty bad. Something I would not invest in either. All right, so looking at AMD options income, pretty much the same thing happened here with that weird market condition, massive drop down, and then it's actually somebody bought it to the point where it overbought it, and it's trading higher than the pre-X dividend time. So that's very concerning. Don't know what that means. We can all kind of come to conclusions maybe in the comment section. But yeah, just because of this condition, I'm definitely kind of hesitant at throwing in my money. So AMDY, that's a hard pass for me right now with my $50,000 of margin I'm willing to throw in. Same market condition again with Netflix C, so it's trading at, 1977, then it drops, X dividends pulled out, massive drop, iconic drop, distinguishable drop. And then somebody just picks up half the dividend again. I don't know. The price point, again, too high. I think it ruins the ceiling for gain. I could be wrong, could be right. So who knows at this point what that means. Moving on, ABNY. Looks like the X dividend has not been pulled out. So maybe there's still an opportunity for ABNY, but long term, not necessarily a big fan of this stock to begin with. So we're going to continue forward. All right, so PayPal is the only one that didn't have that weird market condition that had the X dividend pulled out, right? So we can see here, significant drop. We see that X dividend here. And this looks great, but then let's actually look at PayPal as a holding right now, right? S&P 500 is trading back to its, 52-week high, almost all-time high. And also so is PayPal, right? It's at this, crazy $90.60. Last year, it's up 53%. So, but the thing is, like, how much more is it going to go up? Where's the ceiling? And so for me, I don't usually like buying stocks at the top like this, but, I'm very risk averse with the margin money I'm going to use. How much more can it go up? Hard to say, but for us to make money on YieldMax, this has to go up pretty significantly because of how the options play out, So would I invest in PayPal right now or PYPY? Probably not. So honestly, all these are looking pretty bad. So let's see if ULTY is our last hope. So ULTY. Market condition, the weird market conditions here again, it dropped all the way down to, 1049, 1030, which would have been like a fantastic point to buy in at. But now then it's back at 985, right? So anyone that's like a ULTY bag holder, this is actually, I would say it's a big win for you guys, right? That the X didn't hit and then you guys actually recovered pretty fast. But for somebody like myself that wants to kind of like jump in real quick and then jump out after some time, I'm not sure what to think of this. So definitely with my, $50,000 margin that I'm unleashing, I don't know if this is really worth that squeeze right now. I just don't understand what's going to happen. I'm going to monitor the situation tomorrow and see if what I expected to happen actually happens, or if this was like some hedge fund jumping in. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents with ULTY. Now I'm going to talk about how much money I'm making for this specific week. So I'm going to go over to a spreadsheet here. All right, guys. So looking at this spreadsheet and this top section, I pretty much came up with the average weekly and monthly payers for the funds I'm invested in. And the funds I specifically calling out here are the core foundational holdings. Nvidia is kind of just like my premium pumping machine, where I have a lot of shares and it makes me a lot of premium. But long term, these are the holdings that I want to grow over time. And so these are the ones I track like more efficiently and more effectively, right? But so the distribution that we got for this week for YMAX, I'm going to make $65. I put about $10,000 into it about a week ago. So it's going to net about, $65 this week. And then if you just multiply that specific number by 4 in the month, I'm going to make $262. So for this video is more dedicated for YieldMax funds, but I'm just going to call these out real quick and then make one point once I call these numbers out. So for xdte, about $30,000 about a week ago. Distribution for this week is going to be $96, and then throughout the month, it's going to be about $386 for rdte. Distributions are usually higher. It averages, about 34 cents a week, and then over a month period, it's going to be $1.35 total. So that number is going to be significantly higher. So at the end of the month, after 4 distributions, I'm going to have $986.63 of premium from rdte. For amzp, I haven't bought this yet, but the distribution is going to be somewhere around December 23rd. Just need to double check that. And so amzp, I'm trying to buy in on it on like a down day, but it's just so stable and it just doesn't want to go down. So I haven't really found a good opportunity to buy in. And every time I think it's going to get low, it just keeps going higher. But the average distribution for amzp per month is about 37 cents. And so I plan on buying about 920 shares. Probably by the time I buy it, it'd be like more like 850, but that total number is going to be $340. And then my GPIX and JEPQ is going to be quite lower, but as I make more and more premium, I'm going to invest it into these funds, and it's just at $13.68 and then $16.47. So for me to invest into all these funds, it'll be about $100,000 of margin I'm borrowing. And to borrow $100,000 of margin, it's about $525 a month, right? So we can clearly see by the end of the month, I'm going to have around $2,000. So then there's going to be 3 weeks where I just make, straight $500 cash doing absolutely nothing, right? That's not even talking about me using my other margin money, like the $50,000, and then my Nvidia shares, and then just normal trading, right? So that's going to be my average, about $2,000 per month, as long as everything like this sticks through. All right. And then just to kind of reiterate one of the trades I made this morning, I bought Nvidia at $23.52 a share. It bumped up to $23.90. I saw the money and I'm taking the money, bagged in at $380. I also bought 1,000 shares of Nvidia on the ex-dividend date for the Group B funds. So I bought that at $25.16, but there's some news coming out and then just downward momentum for Nvidia that brought this down. However, I do believe it's going to go back up. Do I think it's going to go to $27? Probably not, but definitely mid $25.50, and then maybe it might touch 26 again and then head down. But that's kind of where I think that sweet touch point for Nvidia is right now. All right, let's do a few call outs. The first shout out I'm going to be doing is for my brother's channel, the Not Guru Investor. He is a big Tesla bull, and then he is incorporating option strategies and then investing a little bit of margin to produce more income. He's a little more on the safer side, but it's definitely good fundamentals in investing. So definitely take a look at his channel and subscribe. All right. And the last channel I'm going to call out is Oracle ETFs. This is an idea factory type of channel. Links are in the description to both his channels. Check them out if you haven't already. All right. Thanks everybody for staying tuned this long into the video. My closing arguments are we definitely observe some weird market conditions with the ex-dividend date. I don't know if hedge funds are buying this ETFs on this ex-dividend or somebody that's got a lot more weight in the market. Don't know if it's a good thing. Don't know if it's a bad thing. Definitely let me know in the comment section what you guys think. For anyone that is a ULTY holder, just any of those specific income ETFs, I definitely think it's a good thing for you guys, because then the NAV erosion is a little bit mitigated with that. But then for someone like myself that's looking for an opportunity to go in and out, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing for me. But yeah, and then let's see. But basically this week I made about $852. So that's a pretty nice win for just, I made the trade with Nvidia and then just the normal weekly dividend payers. But yeah, guys, that wraps up the video. Let me know what you think. Enjoy your journey. Have fun out there. Love you guys. Peace.